Good morning, everybody. Today we will see about the challenges in rapid challenging workplace and how we need to adapt ourselves to reach certain heights and sail high in this wave or a tsunami of workplace challenges that we have today. Challenges are in workplace, in skill, and also in terms of employment that we get out of that. So, how are you going to challenge this? How are you going to take this? If you look at the modern education system, either when it comes to employment, education, knowledge, intelligence, there's a big change because when the workplace is changing, then the workers need to change. When there are new challenges arising in the world today, whether it is corona or digital marketing or digitalization of law, jobs, or even when it comes to exporting and importing workers and work. So there is a huge change in the market. The changes are mainly due to the technologies and the need of new technologies which arises because of needs of people and sophistication in which customers expect. So how are you going to deal with this and what are the chief aspects of this? This is what we are going to see now. Right now in online education or online jobs, we have moved in a very big way to the extent where there is no way we can even compare ourselves to what we did in the last 50 or 100 years is no longer applicable now anymore. It's a new challenge, and right now let's see how to deal with this and what happened in this especially. Tony Wager wrote a book called The Global Achievement Gap. It is one of the top selling books. There he wrote exclusively about the American jobs that were changing. Outsourcing was the name, but outsourcing became more than what it was considered as it is. Because every single American job, which was mostly knowledge based, was broken down into bits by bits and piece by piece and sent to other countries. Right now, Asia is the biggest market for such jobs, and slowly people are predicting Africa may take over because of cheaper labor. It's true because of the dollar rupee exchange and also the time exchange. So, a job, the number of call centers in India are far more than that can be in America or somewhere else. Or the call centers in Asia, about 70% are functioning for countries which are not even Asian. So this is what is costing, and once we export the job and due to the economy, we will see this instead of the cost of production going up, it goes down. It goes down in a very big way to the extent because the countries which are Asian or African, doesn't matter what kind of origin, the dollar rupee or dollar rupee currency is very different, and people are willing to work more time for less salary. So this changes the phase of global market. So this is the game which is happening right now. They're calling it abundant knowledge or abundant economy, where you can really move the jobs. Once we are going to move the jobs, if you want somebody to get the job, they should be qualified and they should be better than what they are. Normal education can't help it. So how to reach this point, or what are the questions in which Tony Wager in his books are asked is, one is, how can student gain this economy, because economy is up, but if a student wants to have access to this economy, what he should have, or in turn what it means is, what kind of knowledge base should a student have, what kind of activity should a student be involved in, what kind of skill set, technical, non-technical, should a student acquire, how should the education pattern change and move, and how are you going to set up the unique futures of the student, how they will differ from each other and reach this height. So David Hajata, he's an MIT economic professor. Cognitive skills, or what we call as the VQR skills, he considered them in a very simple way, calling them repetitive task. If you want to repeat something, you need this middle skill cognitive. But if you want to go for non-routine task, a human-centered task, then what you need is problem solving skill. To solve a problem, we need to understand the problem first. And when we give a solution, it should be viable and it should be affordable. So, this becomes a human centric approach. So, this human centric approach consists of many things. And one more important thing is the World Bank is saying about 50 to 60% of the clerical jobs in the planet are going down. Globally, it is going down. So the new routine is non-routine task. That is a new norm. So the new norm is, for example, when Corona came, Corona is on. The last 6 to 7 months, we can see too many startups have started different kind of sanitizing machines, different kind of solutions to this problem. Some have developed apps, some have developed masks, sanitizers, and UV laser oriented devices. The time they had was less than 8 months. This was the same 8 months for the renowned companies and the startups also. So the thing is, if they come within something which can give solution, they are going to be a need globally, and they should do it keeping the human beings centric. So this is the future that we see, and this is what we see in the present also. So in the challenges of rapidly changing workplace is to adopt and give a creative skills, a creative solution to the existing problem in a very short time. So this is what we are looking for, and this is what David Hedge author is speaking about in this book. So David finally sets up 7 skills as the survival skills. He is not just calling him survival skills. The word is, he'll say, if you have the 7 skills, you will succeed for sure. So the 7 skills, it starts with critical thinking and problem solving. This is the first thing he puts in the book. First thing he puts in the line. So a student, if he is going with a rapid change of things, he should be critical in thinking and have the ability to solve a problem, not just to spot the problem. Of course, he should be able to be agile and adapt so that he can move forward, either technically or mentally or physically. He should be on all the time, because new challenges arises. New challenges means new scope. He should have collaborative networks all around he should have, so that he will be able to pick up the right person or the right company in the right time. Because if we can't collaborate with our team, we can't have success. Every successful venture has been a team success. So when you want to have these kind of skills, you should be really curious and imaginative in your solutions, because existing solutions are already there. If you want to look for something new, I don't know how much true this is. When people were finding real big speakers and they were inventing home theaters and speakers, suddenly they say Sony went into the real minute speaker, the earphone. People are saying earphone changed the way music was heard, because until then somebody put a radio and the entire family was listening whether they liked the music or not, and the speakers were getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly they put this earpads or earphones where you can have your individual taste of music. Right now I'm using 2, and that's what keeps me speaking, since it is added with the microphone also. So this is creative. The smallest speaker, they have replaced the largest ones, because it is easy for me to conducively do this and also able to communicate in a better and sharp way. Not just to listen, also to speak. Like a microphone, that's what they call it, isn't it? So if you have these skills, are they enough? No, you should be able to communicate this in a better way so that we can get it across. So accessing information, analyzing information, of course, we need to do that. Without a project review, without a literature review, there is no point in moving forward, because we don't know what is forward, if it has already been done or not. Once we make this solution, we should have this sensibility to be an entrepreneur, to initiate the project and take it to different levels. Either we can do it by ourselves, or we can align with the companies and do this. So these are the 7 skills which are being considered as most important to survive and succeed. So when it comes to a successful program, the author is going back to the KO Lab program in Korea. The Koreans had the liberty of exercising different kind of solutions for problems, different kinds of education system, different kinds of sports model, different kind of economic model. Whenever they wished, they could do that. So one important system was the KO Lab. Some people call it Collab since it is Korean. Some people simply call it KO Lab. This program dramatically changed the way the Korean education started and Korean education moved. There is no equivalent to this program. Until that time, no other program which really even came close to this method. So they made it on a national level in a very big way to change education. So this made students and teachers to do projects which were extremely new to them and align as teams, different kind of teams for the same projects and finish it off. This was a combination of STEM education, project-based learning, design thinking, and the maker movement make it into in one moment in a big way. And challenges were there. The challenges were some teachers really rose up to the occasion and succeeded, and some teachers couldn't. They couldn't find their feet. They almost lost themselves and they lost. When they checked out the teachers who have won it, all of them had these 7 survival skills. Only the fellows who had the 7 survival skills could succeed, others couldn't. So this became a classic example, and this COLAB program was a new initiative which changed education policy by itself. So in this COLAB program, we had a teacher called, forgive me for my pronunciation, D. Renzo. I don't know how it is Korean name, so I don't know how it is pronounced there. So D. Renzo was a successful teacher, so they made how he did that. What D. Renzo did was, he tracked the students using DT methodology. That is what he used, and he used an experimental digital platform called the CISA, in which he measured the growth of the projects in different levels so that they could very easily see who is succeeding and who is not, and what is the level of success they could do. And what D did in some other way also was, she was autonomous. They worked on their own, they moved up, and they got it what was needed. And most important was, she aligned herself with other teachers and department whenever it came to a knowledge-based sharing. They shared it and they asked others to share with them, and they were open for this process. This changed the very way the program functioned, and they came with extremely successful projects. This success inspired people in a very big way, and this kept going. So if you want to be a successful teacher in this kind of learning, the most important thing is to interdisciplinary teaching, transdisciplinary teaching, and alignment of subjects according to the projects in which the students will be trained or the students will take, and the syllabus need to move accordingly. Otherwise, we can't move up in this process, and especially having influencing networks. All these things are already there in the 7 skills. But the real thing is, in terms of education, we need to implement it in a very early age. If you don't do that, if a student is not exposed to diverse problems, he will not study diverse solutions, diverse knowledge base. Only then a diverse and transdisciplinary knowledge base will happen. Once this happens, not everything he needs to know by himself, but at least the basic he should know, and he should know who to contact when needed also. So this is the right way to move this program, and these were the takeaways of D. Renzo. Of course, we know him, don't we? After this study, after this experience of this KO program, the author or the teacher, he went to one of his students' father, the famous CEO David Wiley. So they sat with the interview with Lee, and they asked him what were the things which he was looking up to, what were the kind of employees, workers, technicians that he is looking up to. So when this question was asked, David Lee was answering in terms of autonomy in work. David was dismissing the clerical work and clearly saying, I need people to share my dream. I need people to imagine from the place where I left it and bring it to life. He was speaking about transforming those papers into presentations and presentation into actual matters. So the projects were taken from him. He, as a CEO, believed his job is to set the direction straight for the company. Once they fix to the challenge, once they fix to the project, he wants his employees to pick up the pace and work accordingly, not expect and looking back all the time for a guidance. Rather be autonomous and can move forward and do that. When David Lee was giving this interview, he pointed out one of the interesting case studies or one thing that happened. That was about the director of video effectiveness of that platform. So what happened was David Lee wanted to create a revenue-based program. He wanted a third party to come in and work, and this third party will be given incentives. They can have their own revenue also. So he just spoke about it and he left it there. It was like a part of minutes of the meeting. So one of the employees took this very carefully and seriously, and without even getting the proper guidance, she looked into the problem. Now they wanted, this is a very famous platform. Shakar is a very famous platform. Now they want outsiders to come in and do something. So outsiders, how to get them in, why they are going to get them in. What she made was he created a separate website and he put everything legally there. Legally, how many percentage they will get, how they can do, how they can get in, how they can conquer, how they can keep their copyright and still align and work with this digital platform. Actually, the trainee was not trained for these kind of skill sets because this involved legal aspects, this involved web designing, this involved economics and too many things. But this particular person rose up to the challenge and finished all these things. And once this was finished, she gave it to the CEO, and the CEO was delighted. After that, this particular person was not an employee anymore. The person was the director of video effectiveness of Shakar. So when it comes to these things, if you see what are the skill sets which really let them in, of course all the 7 skill sets that we expected, and the most important things were initiative, entrepreneurship and communication. So this made a big difference in the project, and this project really took off in a very big way. And when it comes to taking it directly from the master, so when David was asked what can be the role of teacher in education, not just in problem solving and everything, David by himself with his own experience said they should keep the curiosity up. In many ways what David was speaking was he wanted teachers to extend the horizons of life. Once the horizons of life were extended and this doubt of whether we can or we can't is taken away, the child will give a free kick at the problem. And once they do that, the solution is not a long term. It will come, just a matter of time. So one important thing which David always feels as the role of teacher is to create the curiosity within them, create the thirst within the students to go for something more. So this is one cheap quality without discouraging them, encouraging students to do something new. The syllabus may not give you anything new since the syllabus is autonomous and not autonomous. Syllabus is routine. So if you want to move from the routine syllabus, we need to have autonomous status to the syllabus. This will make students to do something based on the syllabus, but the outcome will be beyond the syllabus because it is new. So these were the aspects which David Lee was looking in his employees. He wanted his employees to look into the problem and then work on their own, just to get a a kind of a glimpse of the problem and see how innovative that can be done. They may fail in that, they may win in that, but of course, Shakar is a multi-billion dollar company now. We all know that. So actually, it is a winning formula. So speaking all these things, the kind of challenges in the workplace, the kind of challenges in work, and how people need to get employed or how people need to get empowered, educated. That's the most important thing, isn't it? So these are the challenges for the today's teachers. They need to design a curriculum which will be liquid, which is autonomous, which can include much more things than we can imagine, and do it exactly for every child's need. When this happens, then we can very easily see and handle the challenges of workplace today. Regarding those things, you'll have my other teachers coming and speaking about it to the next level of the same book. So for now, I'm just signing off. Thank you.